Thank you for taking the time to watch Peak Parental Performance, parent education program brought to you by United Football Academy. We're hoping that through these presentations, parents will have more insight into the game, more insight into what we do as a club to help support their player as they go through their soccer journey. This presentation was originally done on November the 9th at the Fowler Park Community Room, and it centered around our philosophy, systems, and style. At United Football Academy, it's been a goal of ours to create consistency through the age groups with a united style of play. Our main focus has been and always will be to develop players, and while we were originally not too concerned with the systems and the styles, we have grown and it's become more important to create a consistent system that can be duplicated at all of our branches and at the different levels of play. And this is the first year that we've asked all coaches to play a certain system in the academy, and some of it was based on the USSF mandates that changed the system into the 7v7 and 9v9, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll start with our philosophy. Everything's going to begin with the ball mastery. If players struggle to control the ball, then we will struggle to be able to play quality soccer. So ball mastery is always the focus. Players that are comfortable with the ball are able to experiment more, and that leads to more creativity and less predictability. We want creative players. We don't want robotic players. We want them to understand improvisation and deception because it is an ever-changing game. We don't take timeouts and call plays. It's a constant flowing game where players need to be able to make decisions in a split second. And that's going to also include some communication. They need to be able to talk to their teammates, quick information, so that everybody's on the same page during the games. Ball mastery begins with your first touch, and we want players to feel comfortable receiving the ball with both feet, understanding the space around them so they know where to take their first touch, and then be able to make the decision on whether they should be dribbling or passing the ball. We want players to have creative moves. We want them to be able to beat players one-on-one. A huge component of ball mastery is being able to have the confidence to take players on. We want them to be able to use both feet and use multiple surfaces. And we also want players to understand what texture, pace, and weight means in terms of passes and such. We watched a YouTube video of Lionel Messi working his magic so that parents could really wrap their head around what it means to take that quality first touch. It's always, with Messi at least, a setup touch. It's not by accident that he takes a touch into a certain area of the field. And so parents were able to really see firsthand the top player in the world and what he does with the ball. We started to talk about creativity, which means players need to read the game. And if they're just looking down at the ball, they're not going to be able to read the game. Comfort on the ball allows the head to go up. Confidence to be able to pass and use multiple surfaces allows them to read the game. Players need to make quick decisions based on muscle memory, automatic reactions that we build into our training sessions, and we ask players to do repetitiously so that it becomes automatic for them. There's a golden age of development, typically between the ages of 9 and 12, where players really absorb and can learn quickly, and this is where the muscle memory is ingrained in players. When players get under stress or pressure, they're going to revert to what they learned when they were young. And if we don't give them the right training, they're going to revert to knocking the ball long and just pressure and kicking the ball out of bounds. So we have to be patient with them. We have to teach them the correct reactions and allow them to experiment and make mistakes. We watched another YouTube video on creativity and improvisation. All kinds of professional players doing unexpected actions. So you can watch that as well. And then we talked about, is it possible for us to duplicate that? Talked about structured training versus pickup and the balance that we may need to find. In the earlier quote, Johan Cruyff is going to say that he learned soccer playing pickup. Giving instructions to players during games We don't want to give them all the answers. We want to challenge them with questions. Talk about how much should they be training. Parents are always asking me, what does it take for my player to get to the next level? Well, if the players above you are training 4 nights a week or 5 nights a week and you're only playing 2 or 3, then that's going to be one area where you're going to have to make a change if you want to catch up to or pass players that are above you. So you're going to get out of it what you put into it. Is it possible to produce creative players in the environment we have? Soccer typically has been played by players coming from well-to-do or at least, upper middle class families. And that allows those players to have a pretty comfortable life. They're not scratching and clawing to get out of the slums to find a better life because they already live in nice areas and nice homes. They're going to more than likely already go to school. They're not fighting for a scholarship, although we get many players that do go to college because they're good players and they have good grades. So that combination can really take you far and give you a lot of opportunities that you may not have if you were not academics and athletic. And then the other question is, do players need to excel at soccer? Ties in with what we were just talking about. I think we have to develop that love for the game and challenge players to be the best that they can, help them with their dreams, as many of them, especially when they're young, they want to play pro. And we want them to feel that they have those opportunities. While we realize that more than likely, most of our players, greater percent of our players, we want to get them through school, get them a good education, because they're going to contribute to society in different ways than playing soccer. Here's the quote from Cruyff. I trained 3 to 4 hours a week at Ajax when I was little, but played 3 to 4 hours every day on the street. So where do you think I learned football? If you're not familiar with Johan Cruyff, you can watch some of his YouTube videos and get some really good insight. Johan Cruyff was the architect of the Barcelona style and is an innovator in the game. And he learned how to play on the street. Style of play. Our style of play is a possession-based, meaning we're trying to pass the ball rather than just kick it forward. We want to control the ball, keep possession of the ball, dictate the tempo of the game, frustrate our opponent, make them move and slide and try to win the ball from us, which then exposes them. And if our players are smart and creative, take advantage of them being out of position. Quick ball movement. Not afraid to drop the ball back and switch the point of attack if we can't go forward. There's no sense in forcing it and losing the ball. Combination play through the midfield and playing through the lines versus skipping the lines, playing long balls. Although we want players to understand that once in a while, we may have to open things up and a long ball could be on. Mobility and improvisation, not rigid or robotic. So maybe players can switch positions. They can run into the areas of the field that by the system that you play, they're not supposed to be in. But if they're being creative, if they have mobility, and if they're improvising, then those things are going to happen. Systems of play. So what is a system? Well, at 7v7, we're going to play a 1-2-3-1. A goalkeeper will have 2 central backs, 3 midfielders, and a target striker. At 9v9, we'll have the goalkeeper, 3 defenders, because we're playing on a bigger field, 1 holding midfielder, 3 more attack-minded midfielders, or a central attacking midfielder and 2 wingers, and then our number 9 target striker. And this will build into what we want to see at 11v11, which is the 1-4-3-3 system. We have to develop the players to fit into the system that we want to see, or we're going to end up where we are kind of now, where we're plugging players in, and we're kind of training them a little bit late in the process. Consistency through the age groups will allow players to move between the teams and understand their position. Academy systems, we want to play from the back. We want comfortable players able to deal with the pressure of being close to their goal. The younger ages are naturally going to make mistakes, and they're going to give up some goals because of that. But as they grow and they'll become more comfortable, it's easier for them to play out of the back. We want goalkeepers that are comfortable taking back passes. They have to be able to obviously play with their feet and be able to switch the point of attack. We'd like to see diagonal passes so that players receiving the ball will be facing the field and see where the ball is coming from and where they want to play the ball to. If they're facing toward their own goal and receiving, then they're going to have their back to pressure and they're not going to know what's behind them, and they're going to have to play the ball back on a regular basis. So diagonal passes will allow us to see the field as we receive the ball. And we want players to understand the principles of attack and defense. In select, our goal is to play the 1-4-3-3. Right now, it's not always possible with the players that we have because we haven't trained them to fit into that specific system, overlapping outside backs, holding midfield number 6, having those attacking midfielders, that target number 9, strong enough to hold the ball up and play off of, and then the big center backs that have to do their job and defend for us. Reasons to develop players in the academy are to prepare for the style we want at 11v11. And we're not really currently there. We don't always have teams that are capable of playing that effectively. We can have them play, but if you're missing a couple of vital key positions, it's very challenging to play that. So we have other systems, which would be the 1-3-5-2, the 1-4-4-2 with some varieties in midfield, the 1-4-2-3-1. And within all systems, there are some slight variations, but it is a starting point and it helps players understand what their responsibilities are. At United Football Academy, we do have a curriculum, one for Academy, one for Select, and it has training sessions. Coaches have access to it, and they know what is required from our style of play. At different levels, we'll have a different focus. Top teams would be focused on a little bit more advanced work, and the lower level teams maybe a little more basic. Training sessions are interchangeable, so we can mix and match and keep the practices fresh. We will update the sessions periodically. And ultimately, there really are no secrets in soccer, but it's the interpretation of the ideas and the philosophy, and it's the coaches doing the work. We then took questions from all the parents that were at the presentation, reminded everybody that we do have online survey to take before you do the 6 different presentations, and then we'll have a follow-up survey at the end. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. Our goal is to help parents clearly understand how best to support their player so that their player can reach their full potential. It's been presented by United Football Academy in Cumming, Georgia. Our website is unitedfa.org. My name is Don Schultz. I welcome your questions, your comments, and your input. Don at unitedfa.org. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.